Have you ever found yourself agreeing with someone just because of their title, or nodding along with a recommendation simply because it came from a seemingly influential person? We often defer to expertise, and for good reason. It can simplify complex decisions and save us valuable time. But what happens when that deference becomes automatic, when we stop critically evaluating information because of who it's coming from? Today, we're going to explore a fascinating and often subtle aspect of human psychology known as authority bias. It's a powerful cognitive shortcut that influences our decisions, our beliefs, and even our actions, sometimes without us even realizing it. Understanding this bias isn't about fostering cynicism, it's about empowering ourselves to make more informed, independent choices in a world full of influences. At its heart, authority bias is our natural tendency to give undue weight and credibility to the opinions, judgments, and directives of individuals we perceive as authority figures. Think about it. A doctor, a professor, a CEO, a police officer, or even someone with a strong social media following. Their words often carry more weight, not necessarily because of the content, but because of the perceived status of the messenger. Our brains, in an effort to conserve energy, automatically assign greater credibility to information from these perceived authorities, often leading to uncritical acceptance and blind obedience. Where does this bias come from? It's not just a quirk of modern life, its roots run deep. For starters, we're socialized from a very young age to respect and obey authority figures. Parents, teachers, and law enforcement all play a role in teaching us to follow rules and respect established hierarchies. This conditioning creates a default setting in our minds. Then there are evolutionary factors. Historically, following powerful or experienced individuals likely offered survival advantages. In tribal settings, deferring to the elder or the strongest hunter could mean the difference between life and death. This ancient programming still hums beneath the surface of our modern brains. Cognitive efficiency is another big piece of the puzzle. Life is complex, and we're constantly bombarded with information. Relying on an authority figure simplifies decision-making. If an expert says something is true, accepting it saves us the effort of thorough independent evaluation. It's a mental shortcut that helps us navigate an overwhelming world. And finally, there's something called system justification theory, a psychological motivation to view existing authority as legitimate, which further contributes to our acceptance and obedience. We prefer to believe the systems and the people in charge are fair and competent. So, how does authority bias manifest in our everyday lives? The examples are endless. Consider the workplace. The highest paid person's opinion, or hippo phenomenon, illustrates how decisions are often swayed by the most senior person in the room, regardless of who has the best idea. In marketing, we constantly see expert or celebrity endorsements, like dermatologist-approved claims, leveraging this bias to influence our purchasing decisions. Healthcare provides some particularly stark examples. The infamous Hoffling Hospital experiment in 1966 showed nurses administering dangerous drug doses when ordered to do so over the phone by doctors they didn't even know, highlighting the powerful sway of medical authority. Similarly, political figures often influence public perception and behavior through their comments simply by virtue of their position. We've seen countless instances where high-ranking individuals can sway narratives and opinions, sometimes causing people to question their own critical judgment.
The foundational research on authority bias comes from Stanley Milgram's controversial obedience experiments at Yale University in the early 1960s. These studies shockingly demonstrated individuals' extreme willingness to obey an authority figure, even when it conflicted with their personal conscience and seemed to inflict harm on another person. While ethically debated, Milgram's work provided undeniable evidence of how deeply ingrained this bias is within us. This bias rarely acts alone. It often interacts with other cognitive biases, like social proof, where we're influenced by what others are doing, the halo effect, where a positive impression in one area bleeds into others, or scarcity bias, making something seem more valuable if it's limited. When these biases combine, the power of influence can be even stronger. Unfortunately, this powerful psychological tendency can be, and often is, exploited. Companies like Gerber have faced penalties for falsely advertising health benefits using implied authority. Conversely, Hyundai successfully leveraged celebrity endorsements to boost sales. Historically, the tobacco industry notoriously used doctors in advertisements to promote cigarettes, a chilling example of exploiting trust in authority. These examples underscore the dual nature of perceived authority. It can guide, but it can also manipulate. This exploitation raises significant ethical concerns. Deliberately leveraging authority bias, especially through deceptive practices like fabricating credentials or false claims, erodes trust and stifles critical thinking. It can lead to the perpetuation of misinformation, create inflated expectations, and ultimately result in poor decision-making. Understanding that authority, even perceived authority, can be fragile and dynamic is key. When figures once seen as unassailable authorities face challenges to their credibility, it reveals how quickly public perception can shift. Similarly, when controversial narratives are asserted with an air of authority, it challenges us to distinguish between genuine expertise and manipulative rhetoric. So, the crucial question for us is, how do we distinguish between beneficial deference to legitimate authority, like following your qualified doctor's advice for your health, and blind obedience that can lead to manipulation or suboptimal decisions? The answer lies in cultivating critical thinking. Here are some actionable steps we can all take. First, always question the source. Who is this person? What are their credentials? Are they truly an expert in this specific area? Second, seek diverse perspectives. Don't rely on just one authority, no matter how reputable they seem. Cross-reference information, look for dissenting opinions, and consider multiple viewpoints. Third, and perhaps most importantly, actively question the information itself. Does it make logical sense? Is there evidence to support it? Even if it comes from someone you deeply respect, engage your own critical faculties. Understanding authority bias isn't about becoming a skeptic of all expertise. It's about becoming a discerning consumer of information. It's about recognizing the psychological shortcuts our brains take and consciously choosing to engage our critical thinking when it matters most. By doing so, we empower ourselves to make more intentional, evidence-based decisions, rather than simply defaulting to what a perceived authority tells us. Stay curious, stay questioning, and most importantly, trust your own informed judgment.